right.
5 minutes to 3.
Deviation, which is the new Danny Dyer movie. Story is a young nurse is abducted by an escaped psychopath who forces her to drive off with him. Young nurse is played by Anna Walton. Multi-layered, complex psychopath played by our friend.
Oh, I see. He's the... I thought he might be the nurse.
No, sadly, he's the...
Okay.
Here we go.
Who's that?
It's Joe. It's my partner.
You're going to call him back. And you're going to tell him that you're going to be home soon.
I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to worry them.
Call him back and tell him you're going to be home soon.
What do you want from me? Who are you?
It's very simple. Do you want me to cut your throat?
Hello?
Hi, you just called? Listen.
Okay, so I think we all know where we are. So look, here's the thing. Despite what everybody...
You're going to call him, or I'm going to cut your throat.
The only way of understanding a film like this is to understand the economics behind it. Okay, the film was originally pitched clearly as an American road movie, sort of 70s-style road movie. They couldn't get the money to. Apparently, at some point, somebody talked about $10 million option. Never happened. So they came back. What we're going to do? I know. Let's make it in Britain. Let's shoot for 14, 15 days. Shoot it for $450,000 entirely from private equity. And the person who produced it, Laura Greenway, says in an article, few films that cost more than that $500,000 make their money back for their investors, let alone become profitable. It doesn't make sense to inflate the budget. The money came on with Danny Dyer, okay? The central character has got to be a complex sort of, psychopath. But then what Danny Dyer brings with him is a fan base. And the director says, I was not keen on Danny at first. I didn't think of him for the part at all. But our casting director suggested him. I wasn't sure about him, but he did have a strong following. And then asked if he always got what he wanted from his actors. He says, if you write carefully, there's only one way of the actors performing it, which is basically a way of saying he's the wrong guy for the role. But with him came the funding. They shot the whole thing on 5D cameras, did it in 18 days, near simultaneous release, out in cinemas, then VOD and DVD together. Now, as somebody who's a fan of exploitation cinema, particularly the economics of it, that is a very good business model. What they think is the film's going to cost $500,000. In order to make that back, we have to get somebody who's going to bring £500,000 worth of punters. Let's get Danny Dyer because that's how many fans he has, regardless of whether you think he's good for the role. You release the thing pretty much simultaneously. You put it into cinemas just so it gets reviewed, which is what I'm doing now. The reviews, whether good or bad, don't affect the box office of the film. They just let people know there's a Danny Dyer movie that's out now, and therefore the fans who want to know that's what they register. It doesn't matter whether I say it's good, I say it's bad. It makes the money back. As a business proposition, it makes perfect sense. And a lot of people complain about the difficulties of making movies in the British film industry. Actually, they could learn an awful lot from looking at the way exploitation filmmakers or people who are low-budget filmmakers just make the maths work. This is what we've got. This is how it works. Now, when Roger Corman does that sort of thing, which he says, I don't care what you do, as long as it's 89 minutes long, it's got a scene in a strip club, an exploding helicopter, beyond that, do something interesting. And he gets directors who want to be Antonioni and gets them to make Carnosaur 2. Occasionally you make interesting films. In the case of this, it's not a good film by any means. I mean, Danny Dyer is terrible in it because he's not, whatever else he may be, he is not a versatile actor. He has one range. And in this, he's trying really hard to expand that range, and he's abysmally bad at it. So consequently, you never think there is somebody in a car with a psychopath. You just think there is somebody in a car with Danny Dyer. And that in itself is not a very... So on that level, it completely fails. However, from a sort of technical level, it's put together in a nuts and bolts fashion. But I think the important thing to understand it... I mean, also, as far as Danny Dyer is concerned, my feeling is if you laugh at somebody and they respond by threatening to beat you up, you just have to laugh at them more. But it is important to say that in the case of a movie like this, it's a $500,000 British-made production that will make its money back. The fact that the film isn't any good at all, I mean, it really isn't any good. It is boring, it's badly acted, it's uninterestingly scripted, and it's not a good film. But at least the people who've made it have looked at the logistics of the business paradigm behind it, and that Danny Dyer is cast because he has that following, and it will work for that following, and it will do what it's meant to do. It goes straight to DVD. It's not obnoxious. It's nothing to get worked up about in the way of pimp. And like I said, despite the fact that me seeing Danny Dyer in a car just makes me think, I would rather bang my head off a wall. It is what it is, and there's no point in getting, irate about it. And actually, as far as the producers are concerned, hats off to them for looking at the economics of it and going, this is how much money we've got, this is how it's going to make its money back, let's do it and get